The opening verses of Psalm 2 paint a vivid picture of global unrest. Nations and peoples are depicted as conspiring and plotting together, their leaders uniting in defiance against the Lord and His anointed. This rebellion is not just a political movement, but a spiritual one, as they seek to break free from what they perceive as restrictive chains and shackles. The imagery here is powerful. Humanity, in its pride, attempts to cast off divine authority, believing that true freedom lies in self-rule. Yet the psalmist hints that these efforts are ultimately in vain, setting the stage for a dramatic contrast between earthly ambition and heavenly sovereignty. As the earthly rulers plot, the psalm shifts perspective to the one enthroned in heaven. Rather than being threatened or alarmed, God laughs and scoffs at their schemes. His response is not one of fear but of supreme confidence and authority. The Lord rebukes the rebellious nations, declaring that He has already installed His chosen king on Zion, His holy mountain. This king is not merely a political figure, but one appointed by divine decree. The contrast is striking. While humanity strives for autonomy, God's purposes remain unshaken. The laughter from heaven underscores the futility of resisting the divine will, and the installation of the king on Zion signals the establishment of an unassailable rule. The psalmist now proclaims the Lord's decree. The king on Zion is declared to be God's own son, a relationship of unique intimacy and authority. God promises to give the nations as an inheritance and the ends of the earth as a possession to His son. The imagery intensifies as the king is described as wielding a rod of iron, able to shatter opposition like fragile pottery. This is a vision of absolute sovereignty, where divine authority extends over all creation. Yet this power is not arbitrary, it is rooted in the relationship between the Lord and His anointed. The decree is both a warning to those who oppose and a reassurance to those who trust in God's rule. The final verses of Psalm 2 shift from proclamation to exhortation. Earthly kings and rulers are urged to be wise and heed the warning, serve the Lord with reverence and rejoice with trembling. The call is not just to submission but to a relationship marked by awe and respect. The psalmist urges them to kiss the Son, a gesture of homage and loyalty, warning that refusal leads to destruction. Yet the psalm ends on a note of hope. Blessed are all who take refuge in Him. This closing promise offers assurance that, despite the turmoil of nations and the threat of judgment, there is safety and blessing for those who align themselves with God's anointed. The invitation is open to all, transforming a psalm of warning into one of hope.